Doctor Who. I love it, you love it, everyone loves it. Well, almost everyone. But for over 55 years now, millions have enjoyed our favourite Gallifreyan's adventures throughout time and space across multiple incarnations. However, the ways in which we relive these adventures has changed dramatically over the years. For children of the 1970s and early to mid-1980s, the main way to go was with the target novelisations.
But the pod in which they are held is breaking up, and time capsules known as home videos are being released into the Earth's atmosphere.
The Daleks will go on!
For those of the late 80s and all the way through the 1990s, it was the release of classic tales on VHS, in which stories could now be relived on the screen itself.
And further releases are imminent. You have the power to protect your universe.
So by 1999, fans had access to nearly all of Classic Who, both in book form and on video. But with the advent of DVD, the re-release of stories old would begin again, continuing all the way through to 2014. And after the DVD range concluded with the release of The Web of Fear, it was then assumed for the longest time that unless more missing episodes turned up, the DVD range was all but concluded.
What do you want? You...
That is, until the advent of Blu-ray. The Blu-ray medium debuted to the public in 2006, a vast step up from DVD in terms of visual quality and also storage. The Blu-ray format seemed like the definitive way to experience high-definition entertainment. However, seemingly like all home video formats, Blu-ray took quite a while to gain a foothold. Sony incorporated it into its PlayStation 3 as a means of making the format more accessible to people, but even some 13 years later, Blu-ray has never been able to 100% replace DVD, at least not in the same way DVD ultimately fully replaced VHS. DVDs are still seen as a cheaper alternative to many, whereas Blu-rays seem to have found success with those who can truly appreciate and understand its qualities and strengths. Now, linking Blu-ray to Doctor Who, the modern run of the programme has had all of its seasons make its way to the format eventually. But what about Classic Who? Would fans have to start building their collections all over again for the third time? Well, for years, the answer was seen as to be a no. Keep in mind that when Blu-ray was first introduced, Doctor Who was still releasing its classic library via the DVD range, which still had a long lifespan ahead of it in terms of remaining releases. There was, however, another key reason. Most of classic Doctor Who was shot on videotape, a format which inherently captures in standard definition, whereas programs shot on film, which is a HD capture format, can therefore be upscaled to show off said qualities on the Blu-ray format. There is one classic Doctor Who exception to this, and that is the first adventure for 3rd Doctor John Pertwee, Spearhead from Space, which was first broadcast in January of 1970. This story was completely shot on film, but only because as the BBC was on strike, leaving its studios unavailable, with the whole production having to be shot on location. But the rest of the many Classic Who stories were filmed in standard definition, so fans assumed for years that Classic Who on Blu-ray was a sheer impossibility. The BBC deemed otherwise. In early 2018, we had the announcement that Season 12, Tom Baker's first as the Doctor, would be coming to Blu-ray in a nice, lavish, limited edition box set, containing all 5 stories from the season, as well as a bonus disc full of extras. Myself, along with the fan community, was both shocked but also quite excited. The new extras seem really promising, and the idea of having a season's worth of Classic Who on one box set, as opposed to several individual DVDs, is any collector's dream. However, there were a few things putting me off. First off was the forecasted price, which on a lot of retailers was around £50 initially. Considering the vast amount of material here was stuff that had already been released on home video, £50 seemed a bit steep to many. It was eventually reduced to around £40, which has been the initial price of all Blu-ray releases since, but more on those later. Now, I would show you my box set of Season 12, but alas, I didn't buy one when it released in June of 2018. I didn't pick one up for a few reasons, but one key one was at the time, I didn't actually own a Blu-ray player of any sort, not even a video game console that had Blu-ray compatibility. Things are always subject to change, however, and the following year, in 2019, I picked up a second-hand PlayStation 4, a machine that not only played great games, but also could play Blu-rays. By this point, along with Season 12, 3 more box sets had been released. these being Season 19, Peter Davison's first season, Season 18, Tom Baker's final season, and Season 10, Jon Pertwee's fourth season, and also the show's 10th anniversary year. I have been able to pick these following three up, but in reverse order of when they were released. So let's have a look at the first one of these that I picked up, and that's Season 10. This is a very special one for me, as the first story on the set, The Three Doctors, was the first Classic Who story I ever watched and owned on DVD. I sat down to rewatch this story and I was actually quite surprised. Considering they're just upscaling standard definition material to the best it could possibly be, it looked beautiful. Sure, it's not high definition necessarily by any sense, but even if I, someone who hasn't got the best vision, can see a remarkable difference in this from my DVD copy, then the team behind this had done something very right. The other stories on this set all look fantastic too. Carnival of Monsters is quintessentially brilliant Classic Who. Frontier in Space is one of the best space operas the show has ever produced, if not a little long. Planet of the Daleks may seem like Terry Nation rehashing his ideas, but the performance of the cast really makes up for it. And finally, The Green Death, a story all about our environment and the damage that can be caused by our misuse of it. Not only is it wonderfully paced, but the emotional departure of Joe Grant is so well done, it still makes me a little teary. A must watch if you haven't already seen it. So after re-watching 5 wonderful Pertwee era stories, it was time to check out the special features. What's nice about these box sets is that all of the bonuses that were issued on past DVD releases is also included here, so nothing has been lost along the way. However, there are new features here too. One is a fantastic new documentary on Jon Pertwee's time as the Doctor, a wonderful little retrospective with some fantastic interviews. On the Three Doctors disc, there's a sweet little look at the life and work of director Lenny Mayne, a man who died far too young and where not much is known about him. And to see Toby Haydock go around to people who knew Lenny, and as they share anecdotes about him, it's really rather touching. There are more features, but I'm not going to spoil all of them for you here, if you wish to pick this up for yourself. Another thing I'll say about these box sets is that the packaging and design of them is gorgeous. They are nice and robust, the artwork on each of them is stunning both inside and out, and they each come with a booklet detailing information about the season's stories. No groundbreaking new info necessarily, but it's nice to have nonetheless. The Season 10 box set is the most recent release in this range, and therefore you probably have the strongest chance of finding one in places like HMV, but also be sure to check out Amazon and other online retailers. But watch out for the price. More on that later. After being really impressed and surprised with Season 10 and how it was presented on Blu-ray, I picked up Season 18, the last season featuring the 4th Doctor. This season to me initially was always a mixed bag. You have some true gems including The Leisure Hive, Warrior's Gate, and Tom Baker's swan song, Logopolis. But then you also have stories like Meglos and State of Decay. Stories that aren't necessarily bad, but do leave a lot to be desired in my personal opinion. However, once again I was amazed with how fantastic these stories look on the Blu-ray format, and the new special features are all a delight. One new special feature that is present on all of these releases is titled Behind the Sofa. In these segments, people associated in some way with Doctor Who watch each story from whatever season you're watching and essentially give their thoughts as they go. It's almost like an evolution of the commentary seen on the DVD release, but now we get a more reaction-based take on the idea rather than just audio. I love these little behind the sofa segments as they're wonderfully charming, and seeing all of these people reminisce about their time on the programme is simply lovely. In terms of Season 18, I would even go as far to say it's improved my view on it as a whole, and with the season ending with Peter Davison taking the role, there was only one way I could go next. Oddly enough, as mentioned earlier, Season 19, the 5th Doctor's first season, was actually released on Blu-ray before Season 18, for whatever reason. In any case, this is the most recent set I've been able to pick up of the Classic Who Blu-ray range. This one was a little bit pricier than the other two sets, partly because it's been nearly a year since it was first released and these are limited edition, their value will increase over time. Hence why I don't own the first release, Season 12, as if you look at the prices online now, you get this.
Ay, I walk around like that.
Anyhow, Season 19 had some really strong highs and some pretty low lows. For every Earthshock, there's a time flight. Every Castrovalva has a 4 to Doomsday, you get the idea. However, once more, the quality of these stories visually is absolutely stunning, and the special features are great too, with many stories getting brand new making of documentaries. But we also get the treat of brand new 1-hour interviews with the man himself, Peter Davison, a treat for any fans of his era. So that about wraps up what I currently own on the Doctor Who Blu-ray range. Will I get Season 12 one day? Well, maybe if I'm miraculously lucky in finding one in the wild, but at the minute it doesn't seem likely. At the time of making this video, we know one release is upcoming, which is Season 23, Colin Baker's final season as the 6th Doctor, and also the season where we are given the trial of a Time Lord. So if you're looking to start getting these sets, it's best to get them new. Others are available online of course, but really, I wouldn't pay any more than £50 for one of these if you can help it. Will this collection ever be seen through to the end? Will Modern Who be included in this collection as well? Will the current logo last across all future releases? All of this and more we will just have to wait and see. But thank you very much for watching this video, and if you own any Classic Who on Blu-ray, let me know what you got in the comments section below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and until the next one, I'll see you all next time.